It's obviously an exciting day for us. We're thrilled to welcome back the guy to my left who needs no introduction, especially in this market. I think a lot of you in this room probably know him even better than Coach Watson and I do. But as we went through the free agent process and talked about our plan of attack going into free agency, we stressed a few key factors. Obviously positionally, we want an experienced guy at the power forward spot who could come in and play right away and could provide some veteran leadership and experience to our club. In terms of style of play, we want somebody who could stretch the floor, open up the lane for our guards, and somebody who's unselfish and move the ball and played with a .5 mentality that Coach Watson and the staff want to play with. I think most importantly, we wanted somebody to lead our group, somebody with high-level experience in the NBA, somebody who's been playoff tested, battle tested, and somebody with leadership qualities and characteristics to teach our young players how to play, how to be professionals, as well as what to do on and off the court. And when we laid out those kind of parameters, that whittled the list down pretty quickly. And one guy who quickly rose to the top of that list was Jared Dudley. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jared. And I guess I just want to be the first to say, Jared, welcome back to Phoenix.
Thank you. Definitely exciting time for me and my family. I've been secretly wanting to come back here for years. We had a great experience here my 5.5 years, and I would say this, I don't think there's a more perfect person right now for this job at this time with this young team than me. I'm now going into my 10th year. Who would have thought that when I was in the same room, I was 22 with braids, with Jay Rich on a throw-in trade. Right now I'm here, someone here to help lead this young team, to know how to be a pro, and what person's better to show these young sons of how to be a Phoenix Suns than myself being here 5.5 years. So I'm excited. My wife's excited here. We kind of grew as early getting married here with our first child after playing the Clippers and winning a game and getting off the airport and rushing to the hospital trying to see my first newborn. So for me, it's a dream come true. I'm excited to get going, and I'm just glad to be here. Coral, had to be you, Coral, huh? Feel like just came back from the Bahamas.
How much did you get involved in your free agency knowing that you felt like this would be a good fit for you, both culture and team-wise?
You get involved with your agent. I mean, I'm definitely someone like myself, hands-on when it comes to your agency and talking with teams. And I think that once Suns showed interest, it was something that where, for me, it's, hey, that's where I wanted to go. You always give your agent, hey, if everything's close or everything's this, what team you want to go to. For me, it's Phoenix easy. So definitely hands-on with that, but not with the GM or anyone else, stuff like that.
I think you said last year. Is this on? Okay. I think you said last year that you were thinking about coming back as well, but you had the back issue going on, and so you just opted into your final year of your player contract. Is that true? You were thinking about coming back even last year?
It was definitely something I was thinking about. Of me, if I was going to opt out, I thought that I played well with Milwaukee, and it's such a young team at that time, very similar to this team, where going from the worst team in the NBA to a playoff, playing that stretch 4 when Jabari actually got hurt. So I thought at that time it was perfect to go in there. God works in mysterious ways for me, having obviously that injury, getting that surgery in July, doing the rehab, having one of my best years injury-free, playing all 81 out of 82 games, and coming back and then signing a 3-year deal here. So for one, you pray, you work all the stuff you can, and so I think it was the perfect time for me to come back here.
Jared, before you got here, the only 2 power forwards on the roster were 18-year-old rookies. And last year in Washington, you played a lot of minutes as a stretch 4. What kind of experience does that help bring to the table with a team like this?
The experience that that I have, that for one, you take a little bit of everything you've learned throughout your career, playing under someone like Grant Hill, Chris Paul, and then going to obviously Milwaukee, helping lead Giannis and Jabari, seeing how to be a pro, and the 4 is very similar. The NBA is now such a lot smaller. People are going small ball in a sense, and the hardest thing, to be honest with you, is defensively. Offensively, you play basketball, you can shoot the ball, dribbling, making reads for me comes natural. Defensively, anytime I play with a bigger center, I've always had a lot more success. So I'm extremely excited playing with Tyson and Alex Lynn. And I just think that overall, it's something I can teach those guys is easy. in the weight room, how to be a pro, how to be positive. And one thing I've talked to Coach Watson, it's not just basketball, it's about life. And it usually, if you're successful off the floor, it translates to on the floor. So for me, it's helping those kids out here. So it really starts today. After I'm done with you guys, I'm gonna be on a flight with Coach, and we go to Vegas and to see Bender and Chris and Booker up close and see how they are and how they, how they progress. So I'll be there this weekend. So I'm definitely excited to hang out with those guys.
Good to see you again. I was much younger when you were
Yes.
here.
Not that much.
You're joining a team that's obviously in real building mode. At this point in your career, was there any trepidation in not going to a team like a top contender?
No, for me, it doesn't matter about, what you were the previous year. You can't really look at a team because, like I just said before, Milwaukee was worse than Philly when I joined them at that time, and we made the playoffs. What I see with this team is, yes, they're young, but it's the chance of opportunity that they have to be good, even right now, where maybe people on the outside might not see it. This team was very good when healthy over the last couple of years. When they won 48 games, even last year before the injury stuff. So, yes, you need a little luck when it comes to the injury bug, but this team going forward, we're not going in there looking just to, shake hands and play, just for fun. So for us, it's going in there being serious. Players like Brandon Knight, like Eric Bledsoe, like Booker, you have, and vets like myself, PJ Tucker, Tyson Chandler. We expect to be successful, and that's laying the groundwork early.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
When you hear the name Jared Dudley, you think of some good memories, Western Conference Finals and stuff. As you walk into this building, what are some of the things you remember, or some of the thoughts that come to mind when you reminisce about the last time you were here?
Yeah, I think that's one thing I think fans have noticed when I was here. That's the good times, especially with Nash in those days going to Western Conference Finals. And even with that team, it was a team that loved to play together. Everyone knew their role and was a star in their own role. No one had any egos when it came to who wanted the ball, who wanted to do that. We were unselfish in the way we played. And it started down from the top, from Nash all the way down to the bottom to guys that didn't play. And as you saw that, guys that are on the bench that didn't play, still rooting for the guys that were starting. So for me, it's something that I've tasted how it was here during the Western Conference Finals, how this is a basketball town, how when you first get here. So I've always been the guy throughout my whole career, high school, college, being the underdog, working from the bottom to top. So me coming here at this situation is fitting. That's why I said there's no perfect person than myself to join this team right now, and I'm just excited, to be honest with you.
Coach, how do you envision Jared and PJ complementing each other at the forward positions? And then from a big picture perspective, with the guards coming back, how does the offense change with them and Jared?
I think it expands. You have two players who are tenacious, they play the right way, they understand the game, and their experience can carry them through any situation. Obviously, they complement each other because he's more of a shooter. And Tuck, obviously, he's great in the paint as well, and driving, he's developing on his shot, he got better. But just having Jared, he knows what it feels like to wear this jersey with pride. Young guys who were probably babies the last time, they reminisce on Steve Nash and Amari. I remember playing here in the playoffs when I played for Memphis. It was nothing like it when I came into this arena. So we're gonna bring back those memories with these guys and allow them to understand that he can help them on and off the court as far as leadership, being a professional, and playing with character.
Jared, the jerseys have changed, the logos have changed, the court has changed since you were last here. What do you want to most bring over from your first stint here? What are you most eager about that's new here?
That's a good question. I think for me, just bringing it over, just myself, what I bring to the table. Jerseys always change, marketing, everyone tries to change, sleeves, non-sleeves. So for me, it's really more about the team, the guys. And that's what you learn through your experiences. I've now, 5 teams or 4 teams that I played on. And for me, positive energy. I've always been a positive guy. I think I got that. I've always had that in my life, but obviously I think Nash was so big on that. Always high five and shaking hands. I've always been on that especially on a young team. With younger guys, you got to uplift. You got, sometimes you got to discipline at certain times, but it's more being a positive light. So for me, being that positive professional every day, even when I'm, we're all human beings. We have down times, you have stuff at home, but bringing that positive energy every day to rub off on the young guys where coach might not be playing you, stuff might be going wrong. You still got to be a pro. You still got to push through it. And once you push through it, then you can see the positive. So that's what I'm going to bring here first and foremost. But when it comes to the jerseys, as long as it has the Suns, I'll be fine.
Hey Jared, last time you were here, you had molded yourself into a pretty good 2 guard, and you could defend. you were one of the big defenders to put on someone like a Kobe or someone like that. And now you've moved all the way over to stretch 4. Talk about that whole transition from 2 guard into a stretch 4 kind of role, and why you think you're perfect for that.
Well, I think it started, me playing the 3 when I was here, and then playing a little 2 for Grant, when Grant was coming up here. And I think when I went to Milwaukee, you got to be able to adapt in this league. It's all about being adapted. So for me, was the opportunity to play the power forward once Jabari got hurt. That's what that team needed. Sometimes, last year, there was a game I started at center versus the Heat, and you would have thought we'd have lost. I had to guard Whiteside, and we ended up winning for that. You got to be able to adapt, injuries, 82-game season. So for me, I actually enjoyed the power forward position because if you notice nowadays, it's not a lot of post-up basketball. When you guard Anthony Davis, the Dirk Nowitzkis, it's very far and few the people that take you down to the block. So from a quickness, laterally, me guard defensively, it's never been the problem for the 4, 3, or 2 usually. Usually at the 4 positions, usually the rebounding. Once the ball goes up, they're the bigger guy. You got to hit first. And then offensively, where for myself was, you could see my passing was highlighted more in the sense of where I can go by them, and then you're at the top of the key, and the whole lane spaced out so you can find other teammates. And that's where I think that I've helped guys, especially in Milwaukee and in Washington, where the passing, if Gortat was here, he might buy me a Rolex many times I gave that guy. So overall, I just think it's a good situation where I'm an unselfish player and you can be more valuable at that stretch 4 more so than the 3 or 2.
You mentioned a little bit about leadership. What do you look at that you want to do with Marquise and Dragon to develop them and get them ready for your role?
Well, when it comes to them, they're the 18, 19 coming in. Obviously, Bender's been a professional a while, so professionalism, he probably a little further ahead. But first thing first, it's you got to lead by example. Before I can say anything, they have to see it. Yes, they see me be a pro. They have to see how I am, in September when you're doing, your different training. And then by that, if I don't know if you guys have been in the locker room yet. My locker is right by Chris. So conversations, how to be a pro, staying after, getting the right shots in the weight room. Why is it important? Yeah, trainers and coaches are always going to be in your head. Hey, you need to do this. You need to do this. Tell them why it is. So for me, it's why you can have success. How many years do you want to play? When I first got into the league and I was talking to people, Steve and Grant, I used them as an example when I was here. I looked at them like, how do they play 15, 16, 17 years? I'm here now, going to year 10. There's a reason for this. It's taking care of your body, Easily, you see people have surgeries and then they never can get back to the level. I had my surgery, played all 82 games, shot one of my best percentages. It's being able to do the little work. So for me, it's going to be a long process with them. It's going to be ups and downs. But at the end of the day, we're on the same team. We're fighting. So a lot of vets kind of fear that. I embrace it in the sense of they're going to take over eventually. And that's for me, coaches and their, management's their job. Is for me, even more everyday process to help them on the way. So I'm excited about that.
Jared, in your first stint here, you talk about being a pro and helping these younger guys be a pro. You kind of became a pro and kind of grew into your own while you were here the first time. Does that make this second time here kind of special? You get to give back to the franchise that kind of helped you become the player that you are now?
For sure. And that's not only for this franchise, and for me, it's in life. You try to give back, when you're growing up and trying to find your way. Once you find your way, it could be my camp, something you do for the young generation of teaching them. If you ever look at the youth basketball, there's so many AAU, so many tournaments going on, the skills dropping off, but the athleticism is increasing. Where it's your chance to give back. So for me coming here, the back of the bus trip is one of the best times I ever had on this team. People don't realize that the conversations you used to have with Shaq, Amari, Steve, and how you wanted to have. Why are they so successful? How did they become an all-star? And that's what I had in Milwaukee with Giannis and Jabari, and what I'll have with Chris, Bender, and Booker, where it's getting to know him as a person, as a man, to trying to help him. It's a funny story. I was just here today talking to Booker in the training room before I was doing my physical. We were talking about the shortfall and different stuff that's going on financially with the NBA, and a lot of stuff is like, I don't ever hear this. I'm like, you have your NBA meetings here. It's like, yeah, it's so long. I have ADD. I was like, I got you. I'll break it down too slowly. And a lot of those guys when they're 18, 19, they see, someone older talking to you, to kind of, worry about Twitter, talking on the phone. So then it's me afterwards. Hey, let me tell you guys this is how the 401k works, guys. Hey, let's put this away. Trust me, you don't need it now, you'll need it later. So it's life.
Ryan, as word started getting out that Jared was on his way to Phoenix, what kind of reaction were you getting from employees who had been here